Hey guys, I always get asked, how do you get a product onto television? How do you get a product into retail? Well, it's a little easier for me because I have experience now, but I tell you, back in the day, not so easy. A lot of trial, a lot of headaches, a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes. Lucky for me, not really bad mistakes because I had mentors around me. But I grew up in the construction trade. I'm a builder by trade, and even though I took advantage of it. I built homes and I saved a ton of money by being a builder and a contractor. But I just didn't like a lot of the people that I was dealing with. I mean, very, very emotional in the construction trade. But I did walk away from that with customer service. But what changed things for me was, I was building homes. I was building homes for all these people, and they were multimillionaires. And I'm like, hey, I hope you don't mind. What do you do for a job? And a lot of them were, oh, I was an inventor. Well, a couple of them were inventors, but a lot of them were like, oh, we take products to market. And I'm like, you take products to market, so you invent, you take a product, you think of an idea, you put it in retail. And they would say, yeah. And at that point, I was like, that's when the light bulb went off for me. I was like, if I keep building the way that I'm building and putting a lot of pressure on my body, I'm going to end up like an old contractor, an old builder who's a maintenance man driving a crappy old Ford F-150. I'm like, that could be my reality. I need to change while I can. And if this guy's driving a Porsche, this guy's driving a Ferrari, living in $1 million home, who was paying me $2,000 to install his $50,000 kitchen, I need to change. And I thought, and my dad told me the greatest advice. He said, son, you have a trade behind you. No matter what you do, you can always swing a hammer. Whether that's building a fence or building a garage, I thought to myself, maybe I got nothing to lose. So being a little bit scared, like I was, like everything, I started building in the daytime, taking less clients on just to get enough to get by. And I started at night, like what you're doing now, watching this, started finding ways to take a product, invent something. What can I do? And just really trying to think about an idea, something that could be that $1 million idea, right? We can all have that $1 million idea. But what I found was if you weren't in the right time at the right place with the perfect pitch, which is why I call my company My Daily Pitch, you really had nothing. You had to be in that moment. You had to be in that position. So I started working at HSN as a TV host, and that's a long story, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but I ended up getting my way in on air through a guy that was there. And I get on well with people. I give people respect. I treat people well. I never look over my shoulder. And that really worked well for me because I was accepted, So I'd go on HSN at nights. I would educate myself like you are now, finding people that you can get working with, that you can mentor with, that you can learn from. And started learning the product industry. I was selling products on air, doing $1 million items on television. And then I was seeing their products in retail, and I'm like, well, what are they doing different to me? And I quickly learned how you can take a product, create it, and put it into retail and market. And that was when I was like, okay, this is going to work. And that's what happened to me a few years ago when I created Lazy Buns. Me and a buddy got together and we created a pool float. And I knocked on all the doors and built a reputation with, as a hustler, as we would call it. But I had a product. I was excited about it. And I thought I'll work my construction time, right? 3 to 4 days a week, and that gives me an extra day on Saturday, Sunday. And I knocked on as many doors, like I was like an encyclopedia guy from the 1960s, and it worked. I got my product into retail. I was working nights. I was getting less sleep, and then before you know it, started to change. And long story short, that was when the light bulb said, yep, this is what I want to do. Because even though I struggled for a couple of years doing both jobs and getting it out there, when I sold Lazy Buns, that's when I'm like, okay, Now you can go buy a Porsche, and taking that information and doing it again. So never stop learning and always have mentors around you, and you'll make that transition a lot easier. It'll just feel right. It'll feel right. So good luck, and I'll keep posting some good information for you guys, and maybe do a couple of things that you'll resonate with and want to take their journey along the way. And hey, and see if I can help you out along the way, mate. It'd be great. Thanks.